guys, welcome back to my channel, Eva Rose. So in today's video I will be telling you all about what it's like to work in one of London's prisons as a healthcare assistant. No warden, officer, nothing like that, healthcare. So before I worked there, I always done retail and catering. Then I done care in the community, and then I thought, oh, let me see if I can do anything else. So I think I went on, I think it was Indeed website, and there was advertising for healthcare assistant in one of the prisons in Islington. So I thought, oh, okay, let me just try, see if I get it. I've done the caring in the community, but I didn't have any qualifications. Just done like a 1 week course for that. So anyway, I went for the interview. 2 people that was there, and he was asking me, you know, what kind of experience I had and this, that, the other. And to be honest, most of it I was like, I haven't done that. No, I haven't worked in hospitals. Blah 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 blah. And then he started asking me, like, I'll call it common sense questions. So he said, like, you know, when you're working in a high security place, what is your main priority? And then I just said, you know, to protect yourself and others in your surroundings, blah blah blah. And he's like, yes, that's right. And other questions like that, but you just do that anyway. And then I think a couple of days later I got the job offer. I was like, oh. At that time I was working in Sainsbury's and part-time as a carer. So I left care work and I was still working in Sainsbury's because it took like took like 3 months to actually start working in the prison, because you had to do all these security and background checks and you know, criminal past and what's it called? CBR thingies. Can't remember what that's called. Anyway, so first day I was, you know, kind of nervously excited. Packed my little lunch just in case I didn't know where the canteen was or whatever. You know, when one's hungry, one must eat. So I showed my passport. I took my phone and other few things that weren't allowed through the gates, and gave it to the guy the guy at security gave me a key just to put in one of those little envelope lockers. Fine, done that. And then he called healthcare and told him that I was there. And so I got there, I think I must have got there about 7:15 in the morning. So they phoned and said that I was there, and I was sitting there like a lemon, watching everyone go through, getting searched, blah, blah, blah. Sitting there till like 12 o'clock. I thought, no, I'd taken a biscuit. Anyway, I thought, oh, got food, might as well just sit and eat it. Anyway, so that was 12-ish, I guess. And then they come and got me just before 1, which was the ending of their break. So went in, went through, was introduced to some of the nurses, because, you know, they all went off to do their work basically. So I was shadowing for I think it was 2 weeks worth of shadowing, and obviously I didn't have my own keys then or anything, so I had to go with someone, or, you know, excuse me, could you let me through, excuse me, could you open the gates please? Not everyone is friendly and wants to help out, but that's another story. So my first impression was like, oh my god, look how big this place is. How am I going to find myself get around here? But I got used to it, thank goodness. When I was walking through the centre to go to one of the other wings with a nurse, there was a fight there, and she just kind of pulled me back out the way. I thought, oh god, I mean, what could they possibly be fighting for? But anything you can fight for, I guess. I don't know. So that was the first fight that I saw, and then I become to realise that every time there was a fight or there was like movement in the prison, at the end of it there was always a call for a nurse, because someone's been fighting, someone's been stabbed, someone's been beaten up really badly, or you know, something, or someone's been taken down to segregation for misbehaving or whatever they've done. Naughty corner I called it, but yeah, segregation in G-Wing. So we had to go there and check that was all right, because you know sometimes they put up a fight, so the nurses and the care staff had to go and see if there was all right, if there was anything they needed, blah blah blah. Most of the time that was okay, unless they've been in a fight or something, and then just got to patch them up and that. So weeks went by. I shadowed, well, a couple of days went by, should I say. I shadowed a couple of different people. Most of the people that I shadowed was agency nurses. So I worked in the clinic, sexual health clinic, wound clinic, and they showed me how to use the computer to book them on for the doctor's appointment, or to see the nurse, or see the optician, or the dentist. Now the dentist and the optician seemed the longest wait, but what I came to realise is, well, that quite a lot of the prisoners, inmates, they didn't go to their appointment, so it was just going round and round in circles, and people that needed an appointment didn't get an appointment because they've taken it and knowing full well that they're not going to go. And also sometimes they didn't go if there was lockdown on the whole prison, so all the clinics had to be cancelled. It's a bit I mean, yeah, you do have to watch your back, and you know, some of them seem to think they can try and sweet talk you, and that don't work with me. And like in the training they said like not to wear like low cut tops and, you know, be all over friendly with the prisoners. But I'm not being funny. Who in their right mind would do that? They're in there because they've committed a crime, be it whatever. So I had tops that come right up to my neck, and then we got given like the work fleeces, which was, it zipped up to here. So that's exactly where I zipped it up to. Anyway, there was a nurse that come there. She was quite friendly, nice, but she just didn't seem to know right from wrong when it came to the prisoners. And she wore her fleece zipped down to there, and her top was open. But I'll just leave it at that. You can imagine. She got sacked in the end. Well, she didn't. She was dismissed, but they had to pay her out. We all had to write reports on what we see and what happened and stuff, but we told you exactly what happened, and you lot still paid her out because you couldn't be bothered to go to court. But whatever. So I think after I don't know, let's say 6 weeks, I managed to get keys, but I did have to keep asking for it. Ugh, it's like drawing blood from a stone. But it was a nightmare trying to get just so you can have your own independence to go around and help out more, instead of waiting for someone else who's got keys, or asking one of the officers who wasn't often didn't want to oblige by just opening the damn door. So yeah, got my keys in the end. Then I was given more tasks to do: go to healthcare, go to the clinic, assist in the clinic. But most in the mornings I done they call it the Wellman Clinic, so that was just basically height and weight, and if they've got any mental health issues. But normally that was sorted out the day that they came into prison in reception, and like book them to see doctor or nurse or dentist, whatever they requested. Some of them was straight through. Some of them had a bit of attitude, and some of them was like, oh, I wish I had someone to cuddle at night. But I just, things like that, I just played a deaf ear. If you're that worried about cuddling someone at night, what are you doing in here? Oh, obviously I didn't say that, but yeah, that's what I was thinking. And you see, some of them was crying, they was remorseful for what they'd done, or they've been put there on remand, and I didn't mean it to happen, blah blah. But I just advised them, you best wet your face and wipe it, because if they see you crying like that, you're gonna be a target. Okay. I wouldn't say that I was scared, but I was more weary, my eyes wide to what's happening all around me. Well, nothing major happened to me while I was there, but it was still obviously a dangerous place to work. I think I had a week's holiday, and then I heard that one of the nurses in another wing got attacked by one of the prisoners, beat her up pretty badly and took her keys, but he didn't get far. There seemed to be a lot of suicide attempts in there, which is quite sad, but who wants to be in there? And what I noticed as well was a lot of prisoners that was in there, it was mental health issues. So then I was thinking, should they really be in prison for mental health issues? But then again, they've done the crime, which is a crime. So if you do a crime, you go to prison. But they had counsellors and psychologists for them if they wanted to see them. So out of all the clinics, the wound clinic I liked, dressing wounds and stuff, and the sexual health clinic, because you know what to look for if they had any STIs or STDs, I think they're called now. So that was interesting. And I don't know, maybe I'm stereotyping, but people you thought wouldn't be that way inclined were that way inclined. But I guess if you're put away for a long amount of time, you're yearning for something, aren't you? Unless you can hold it or do whatever, sort yourself out, I don't know. But yeah, so that was quite interesting. A lot of asking for condoms, and but so yeah, quite a few of them asked for condoms, but there was more so that didn't use condoms. So all the STIs was going round and round in circles. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know. I never had any trouble when I was screening them, because so the rooms that you screened at, there's 2 rooms. So I was in one, and either a nurse or the other healthcare assistant was in another, screening the prisoners. So that was in A wing, so all the officers were all around anyway, and the door, I left the door open, so just in case anything happens. And when you ask for their prison number to type in so you can put notes on their records, it says whether they're dangerous or to be mindful or whatever, you know what I mean? So it does help you in that way to know. But I was lucky not to encounter any aggro, basically. But I think if I was an actual nurse instead of a healthcare assistant, they would have spoke to me more and be more on my case to help them out, or you know, just do more stuff. But I was okay in there as a healthcare assistant. Thank you very much. I was supposed to be like sent on a load of courses, because that's what the managers at the time said, that I can do whatever course I want to do. The prison, well, the healthcare will pay for it. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's really good. So let's talk about the staff. So the wardens, or what do you call them, officers, majority of them was okay, but you had some who was just like, no man, have I actually done anything to you? I haven't got keys, so could you please let me through? Simple, innit? Just take your key, you know. Oh, but they all had problem with it. But the worst problem I had with the keys was getting in the mornings. So yeah, but remember I said I got my keys in the end, which was really good. And then in the end we did, because you had little discs with your allocated number to whatever set of keys, but then they changed it over, so all the keys were there, and you just, I think you had to put 4-digit number in, and then the glass cabinet will open, and you got like 5 seconds to get the keys before the alarm goes off. So that was better, because then everyone could just, but you knew which keys didn't work properly, which bunch of keys didn't work properly. So if that was the only one left, it's like, oh, damn it. But anyway, keys were sorted. Yeah, most of the officers were friendly and helpful, but there was some nasty ones there, man. You can tell there was, like, is it, what do you say, jobs worth kind of thing? You can see that they actually think they're police officers and think they can do whatever you want. A couple of the prisoners that went to segregation got beaten up by the officers. Yes. And I've seen documentaries on TV about it as well. You know, the prisoners saying what's happened, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it does happen. I mean, not to say for good reason. There's no good reason to hurt anybody, is there? But if they've done something or hurt one of their colleagues who there was, you know, good friends with, they will get it. And you can see the, you know, big fat eye and bust mouth from being in segregation. When you're in segregation, it's only you in there. So obviously it's the officers, or, you know, I'm speculating, or allegedly the officers that done something. So, okay, so the nurses. Well, okay, the majority of nurses that I got on with was the agency staff and 2 full-time workers. The rest of them didn't give 2 hoots. It's like they was there to get paid and do absolutely nothing. Yeah, so as I was saying, I had to change position because the battery was running out. So yes, I'm here, chilling. So yes, the half the nurses that worked in there unfortunately didn't give 2 hoots. Didn't do their job properly, done bare minimum, and skived, but want to grass up someone else for skiving. Oh gosh, I was glad to get my keys, and then I could like move around by myself and go wherever I needed to go and come back without bothering anybody. Do you know, there was this incident, it happened on the night shift. I didn't do night shifts. I done 7:30 to 4:30. So we come in the morning with the other nurses, and there was like, you know, in handover, was told that in the night one of the prisoners was complaining of breathing difficulties. So we thought, oh gosh, you know, what, you know, I hope the nurse that was there at night helped him out. But anyway, we was told by one of the officers that he still needs to see a member of staff. So me and one of the nurses went up on the floors. God, those stairs are steep. I used to think I was so unfit, but now I'm unfit. With anything happened, you had to, the only time you was allowed to run in prison is if it was an emergency. So, you know, you just had to get up the stairs. Anyway, so he went on the floors, went to his cell, pulled the thing down to see who it was, and, you know, he spoke to us, and then we asked one of the officers to open it. When I tell you, this guy could hardly breathe. His lips were blue. His face was red. It was an Asian dude. His face was red, but we had to take him to the nurse's quarters to give him the nebulizer, basically. And when he got his breath back, he said that the officers, you know, called for the nurse, and the nurse went up there and shoved paracetamol underneath the door. I'm like, if that is what do you call it? what's the word? Showing that you don't care. That was showing that you don't care. How can you be a qualified nurse and someone's having breathing difficulties and you're shoving paracetamol under the door? What the hell was that going to do? So the poor guy had to be there all night gasping for breath. It's lucky he didn't pass out, isn't it? Anyway, so we brought him down and we gave him the nebulizer, and then he started crying and he was just thanking us for helping him. Well, at the end of the day, that's what we're there for. I've got asthma. I've had to use the nebulizers before, so I know exactly what he felt like. That really upset me. And you know, the prison, some of them used to go around saying, NHS rejects, blah blah blah. But I just ignored them unless they come up to me and asked for something. And most of the time it was to see the doctor, the nurse, or the dentist, or whatever. But they had to fill out an application. It has to be written on paper. You telling me is not going to get you to the top of the list. Anyway, so that was that. And the nurse never got told off for it or anything. It's like quite willy-nilly. No one gives a hoot. But you've got a duty of care whether they're prisoners or not. And, you know, it doesn't matter what crime they've done. You're there to look after them if needs be. Address whatever the problem is. So I just thought that was really bad. And then got the skivers as well, like I said. You know, they come there on time, but, you know, hide out, so, you know, and don't get a radio so no one can call you. There's just most of them's getting paid for doing nothing. So when it was, what is it? Oh, I can't remember now what it's called, but the nurse in charge had the Hotel 7 phone. It was called Hotel 7. But when there was an emergency or something's happened, they will radio through to Hotel 7 to come. And when they say come, you have to freaking leg it. I mean, leg it. Yes, I'm big, but at the time, I could run. So don't worry about the stairs. You one way or another, you're getting up there. So, yeah, which was a bit scary. But the thing is, when it's an emergency, all medical staff have to go. Me not, you know, being a nurse or whatever, I still had to go take notes or hand them something or whatever, just to be like a third hand. I did go to somewhere they had to be resuscitated and someone hung themselves and it went to court. You know why was he left in a vulnerable position for that to be able to happen? Like I said, some of the officers were caring enough to do their job, what they're supposed to do. Some of them didn't give two hoots, like the nurses as well. Like we did have staff meetings and to do handovers and all that, but if you had anything to say or complaint, it was in one ear and out the other. So half the time I just sat there like this. And then in one staff meeting, the healthcare assistant that worked alongside me, she's like, I think she was band 4 healthcare assistant, so quite high up. She said, oh, this needs to happen with that, and this needs to do this, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know what the other healthcare assistant has to say about it. I cut my eye at her. I know they're not going to do shit. So what's the point of me saying anything? And what are you bringing my name into it for? Oh, imagine after the meeting. Don't drag my name into it. So the healthcare was in a separate building. So that's where we had to go to have the meeting. And there was the chemist there and the hospital wing upstairs. And then like the secretaries and secretary's assistant, doctor's assistant, and, you know, that kind of people. And this girl, I'll say her name, Zeba, she made my life hell. I don't know what the problem was with her. Because I had to go to her for my pay. And she didn't put this on, she didn't do that, she took off this, she took off that. I'm like, what the hell's your problem with me? You do everyone else's pay all right, but you've got a problem with me. She didn't stay there long anyway. And there was 2 other girls that was leaving, but that was fine. And so I got them leaving cards. And she's like, oh, you got them leaving cards. Well, why the hell would I get you a leaving card? Bitch. Anyway, so what I had to do the booking ins for the doctors and nurses, like I said, and then it went to the person in the healthcare office to check it and make sure that they are on the list. They put them on there. I put it like, red flag it for it to be taken further, and then they will put it on. Anyway, I was there once, and she said to the other healthcare assistant, I don't know what she keeps putting, it is stated that. Like, I was taught you had to write, he stated that blah, blah, blah was wrong with him. That's what they trained me to say. And she's like, every time she puts stated, she doesn't need to put stated. I'm like, hello, I'm standing right here. Oh, son, I know, people's got so much problem. Oh, and then they want to come try and be a friend. No, we've passed that stage, thanks. I'll do pleasantries, and that's it. Yeah, I think one of the sad things was there was a lot of young boys there. Lot of boys on remand waiting to go to court. Yeah, but they're just, I don't know, just broken families. Not that I'm saying that this is an excuse, but I don't know, it's like they just don't know how to channel their energy and like emotions, and just get caught up in the wrong crowd. Like drug dealers, they always try to use younger people to do their dirty work so they don't go to prison, and you hopefully don't get sent to prison or do a lighter sentence. But they don't see it like that. They groom them to do stuff, don't they? What else? I mean, on our lunch breaks, if they called Hotel 9, we had to leg it. Don't worry about eating. You must get to what the patient, what's going, to see what's going on, or if they need help. So, it's equal opportunities in the prisons. And so they had a mosque, a place of prayer, or they prayed in their cell on, on the mats that they used. But every time they was allowed to go to mosque, you can bet your bottom dollar that one of the nurses would be called. So basically, they went to pray to Allah, and on the way back, there had to be some sort of fight. Oh, someone's been beat up, someone's been stabbed. I mean, you would think, how is knives and all that sort of stuff getting in there, but it does. Every time I went in there in the morning, all I could smell was weed. Work that one out, yeah? Yeah, they'll be fighting. Someone's been cut, someone's been sliced. All on the way back from the mosque. Work that one out, yeah? I don't know, it seems to be like, prison's supposed to be punishment, but it seemed like most of them in there will think it was like some sort of holiday camp with their gang members, or make a new gang, and who's top dog and who ain't top dog. Madness. But I found it very interesting. Well, like I said, I wasn't scared, because if I was scared, well, why would I be going to do the job? You just go in, be wary, protect yourself and others, and do your job. There was always something to do. You could never catch up with anything because it was just ongoing. So they had the clinics Monday to Friday, Saturday and Sundays. No, there was nurses there, but not to run clinics or anything. Just one on the day shift and one on the night shift. So after a while, when I was there, they wanted the healthcare assistants to do the reception, which is when they come in from court or come from another prison, to do their It's like the Wellman Clinic, but it's a bit more thorough to see whether they need to see a doctor or get some sort of medication or whatever. They wanted me to do it. I'm like, well, I'm not a nurse for starters. I mean, yes, I can see if someone's upset or they're not quite with it, but I'm not a qualified nurse. So how do you want me to tell you whether he needs to be on suicide watch or he needs this medication or he needs to see a psychiatrist? How am I supposed to tell you like that? And to make it worse, there was, I think years ago, this is what the other healthcare assistant told me years ago, basically this guy had mental health issues, and it was a healthcare assistant that screened him in reception and said that he was fine just to go to his cell. And long story short, he hung himself. It went to court, and the judge said under no circumstances is any healthcare assistant to do reception. So let's say that was, I don't know, like 5 years prior to when I was there. So like they seem to be forgetting that and just want, they just wanted to have 1 or 2 nurses and the healthcare assistants can do everything else. But you're trying to make us do the nurse's job. We're not getting paid to do that. Not that it's a money issue, but you're taking the piss. So I left before that happened anyway. And then they wanted us to do a talk about how to do applications, which was, to see the doctor, the nurse, or whatever. I'm like, I don't want to go up there and do that talk. And not being funny, most of them has been there before, so they know the routine. And the officers normally tell them what's what anyway. Ugh, I don't know. I liked it, but I didn't like the staff. If I was just left alone to do my own thing, I'll be fine. Some of the prisoners did try and think you're going to be all pally-pally with them. No, we're not friends. I work here, you live here. 2 separate things. I ain't bringing you nothing in. They tell you that in the beginning as well. Don't bring anything in. Don't let them talk you into bringing anything in or, no, they will bribe you. Well, I know that anyway, but yes, reassurance, and no, I'm not bringing anything. The one of the prisoners, he started saying to me, so-and-so, Officer so-and-so brings rice and peas and blah, blah, blah in for him. And I was just like, good for him. But I know he was trying it. They're not in prison for no reason. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, staff-wise, I don't speak to none of the staff there anymore. Not that we had a falling out or anything, but you work there, that's when you talk, you leave, and everyone's just doing their own thing, I guess. I think that prison, if I remember rightly, was category B and C. For like long-term prison sentences and on remand and things like that. I think it held 1,300 prisoners. There's 4 wings. Is there 4 wings? Yeah, 4 wings. 4 flights to go up. Can't remember exactly how many cells on each floor. I remember in C wing there was a cell which was quite big and it had the toilet off to the side of it. It absolutely stunk to high heaven. Oh my god. The person that was in there, he had disability, basically. He's in a wheelchair and we had to go in and check his diabetes. Oh man, I don't know. I mean, not saying I would, go to prison, but I'll try and keep it as clean as possible. I've never had the privilege to go in that far where the toilets were. Because in that prison, the toilets are by the back wall. Because I know some of them, as you walk in, it's to the side. But, didn't go in. And if you go in, you had to make sure the latch was out of the door so they couldn't lock you in and beat the shit out of you and stuff. But when I had to go up there to either ask something or give them something, there was an officer there. Well, I asked them to come with me, please, thanks, thank you. So he stood outside and I asked whatever I needed to ask, or give him whatever I need to give him. So yes, I think that's about it for that little story. I'm not sure that I would work in a women's prison only because there seem to be more. I think women are more manipulative. Not that I will fall to it, but I think it'll be harder work to work in a women's prison. But as far as I know as well, they've closed Holloway Prison, which was the women's prison, so I don't know where they are now. Yeah, interesting. Not that I would go back and work there, but I don't know. Before I left, they wanted me to do nights. I didn't want to do nights. Came off of nights from working in Sainsbury's. I took the job because it was 7:30 till 4:30, more normal hours. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's that little story. Okay, thank you for listening to me. I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you again in another video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you'll be so kind. Bye.